the Maui Daily Report Week in Review.
Aloha. Welcome to TMDR, the Maui Daily Report for Monday, March 16th, 2026. I'm Chivo Cheng Johnson. These are some of the stories you may find interesting today. Any doubts about sea level rise were slammed shut by the power of this Kona Low. The South Kihei shoreline was transformed into a river. Cars and trucks were floating down Kulani Hokoi Street, bumping into each other. Eyewitnesses reported that the raging water played with a 40-foot container like a little toy boat. Waterfalls in gulches, landslides, washed out roads including the road to Hana, fallen trees, and part of a home in I'au Valley was washed into the Wailuku River. There were ponds of mud, power lines down, floods and flying debris reported island-wide. There were also several evacuations. A water line break in Kula, and more than 350 people sought shelters. It will take several days to sort out the damage. The Kahului Target store was flooded and will be closed for at least a week. Reportedly, the field behind Target store flooded and then mud and water washed in through the loading dock. The National Guard in Hawaii was called out for the right reasons Saturday and Sunday to help with evacuations of people in danger of the storm and manning traffic control points. High water vehicle teams were on standby to assist the Maui Fire Department. Roadways are still hazardous in the wake of this storm. There are chunks of pavement missing in some places, and there are multiple road closures in place. You can keep track by getting updates from the county at mauicounty.gov/road closures. Haleakala National Park and all Maui County parks, recreation facilities, swimming pools, the Waihe'e Municipal Golf Course, Kepaniwai Park, and Heritage Gardens were all closed today, but should be open by tomorrow. The Maui Fire Department responded to 58 calls during the Kona storm, most of them related to flooding emergencies. 5 were sparking power lines, 5 for cars stranded by downed trees, 6 for boats cast adrift, and 10 swift water rescues of 27 people, most of whom were taken out of cars with water rising all around them. The worst is over, but officials are warning people to stay away from floodwaters and the ocean that may contain chemicals, harmful bacteria, animal waste, and other hazards. There sure was a lot of shaking going on this past weekend as crews continue to clear debris and assess damage from this Kona Low. They are out there cleaning mud and debris from roads, drains, and culverts, filling in potholes, inspecting roadways, bridges, and rock embankments, pulling vehicles out of ditches, removing trees, fixing guardrails, and testing traffic signals. Here is a report from Molokai. was built on wetlands. A long stretch of South Kihei Road was hit extra hard by the storm. Cars washed away, stuck or trapped in mud. Trees down, coastal erosion, sinkholes, and damaged roads. The mud is everywhere, blocking cars in parking lots, and it will be days before all the cars in Kihei dig their way out of the mud. If you have experienced loss or damage to a home, a vehicle, or personal property, don't delay in contacting your insurance company. Take photographs, ask for a claim number, and confirm deadlines for document submissions. Don't make repairs until the insurer approves. Google the Hawaii Insurance Division for help. Maui Emergency Management Agency is urging residents and businesses impacted by the Kona storm to submit damage reports online at their Submit Damage Report page as part of ongoing recovery efforts. Officials say reports should be submitted as soon as possible to help secure state and federal aid, with more information or assistance available by calling MEMA during business hours. Yesterday, State House Representative Ellie Cochran of Lahaina announced that she is switching to the Republican Party. This would increase the House Republicans' numbers to 10. Cochran was elected to her seat in 2022 as a Democrat. Last year, she missed 51 out of 60 days of the legislative session in Honolulu because she said she was needed more in her district to help fire survivors. Cochran is up for re-election this year. Last week, Lahaina community organizer Paele Kiokona announced his candidacy for the same District 14 seat as a Green Party candidate. Aloha, welcome to TMDR, the Maui Daily Report for Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami has officially entered the race for lieutenant governor, setting up a Democratic primary challenge against incumbent Sylvia Luke this August. Kawakami, a term-limited two-term mayor on Kauai, launched his campaign as Luke faces scrutiny tied to an ongoing campaign finance investigation. The race is expected to draw significant attention statewide, with unions and political groups already signaling early support for Luke as the field begins to take shape. That's not the only news from the Garden Isle. The Hawaii Department of Health reports that wastewater samples have tested positive for measles, but no cases have yet been reported. Civil Beat has just reported what many of us have already felt, that Hawaii is getting way more rainfall than normal. This wet season storms are making history with record-breaking rainfall statewide. Honolulu saw 12.34 inches from February 1st to March 15th, more than 4 times the average. With 13.6 inches just from Wednesday to Saturday, Kahului set a new 6-week record of 18.9 inches, exceeding the past 5 years combined. And more storms are expected later this week. Maui now reports that electricity has been restored for most of Hana, but Hawaiian Electric says that as of this morning, about 400 Maui County customers were still without power. Some pockets in hard-to-service areas may experience outages for several days as crews work around the clock to repair damaged poles and multiple downed lines. Hana residents were cut off from the rest of Maui by this last Kona Low, so the Maui Food Bank got together with MEMA and Maui United Way and airlifted 2,000 pounds of shelf-stable food. The airlift was by helicopter to Hana, the most Hawaiian place. Once the road is open, the Maui Food Bank's mobile market truck will head out to Hana to deliver fresh produce and frozen meat. Hopefully, that should happen later this week. There is at least one benefit from all that rain, and that is the Stage 1 water shortage for Upcountry and the Stage 2 water shortage for West Maui has been lifted, effective Monday, as heavy rain has replenished reservoirs and improved surface water supply with more rain on the way. I'm Chivo Cheng Johnson, and these are some of the stories you may find interesting today. A second Kona Low is set to hit Maui County starting tonight, bringing rounds of moderate to heavy rain through the weekend, with a flood watch now in effect through Sunday evening. While this system is expected to be weaker than last week's storm, saturated ground raises the risk of flash flooding and landslides, especially on the days of the heaviest rain forecast for tomorrow night into Saturday. County crews are still responding to widespread damage from the last storm and are urging residents to prepare, secure property, and stay alert as emergency teams, shelters, and resources are being readied across Maui County. First fire, then rain. The stone walls holding up the west side of the historic Baldwin house in Lahaina, badly damaged in the wildfires, has collapsed following the recent storm just days after work to stabilize the structure had begun. As a result, the structure will need to be totally torn down and reconstructed. The Lahaina Restoration Foundation remains committed to preserving that landmark and invites the Maui community to support the effort. In the meantime, 290 houses on Maui are still without power, and some Kula residents are still without water. Those without power are now being notified that the outages may last through the weekend. The Hawaii Department of Health. A heated split erupted in the Maui County Council Great Committee this past Tuesday afternoon over the hiring of outside legal counsel to defend against lawsuits from short-term rental owners. Supporters urged immediate action to prepare for a tsunami of litigation. Opponents demanded more transparency and discussion. Council members clashed over timing, cost, and their trust in Corporation Counsel. The dispute devolved into procedural confusion and tension, ending in multiple deadlocked votes that left the hiring of special counsel unresolved.
Aloha. Welcome to TMDR, the Maui Daily Report for Friday, March 20th, 2026. I'm Patty Lee, and these are some of the stories that you may find interesting today. Another storm has arrived, and Maui now is calling it Kona Low 2.0. The Maui Emergency Management Agency is calling a flood advisory in areas of moderate to high risk where there is rain-saturated ground, such as Iao Valley or South Maui. East Molokai, Lahaina, and East Maui have also been identified. Around 9:30 this morning, evacuation advisories were issued for Wahikuli and Leali'i areas below Kala'iola in Lahaina due to nearby retention basins nearing capacity, according to MEMA. Crews are working to redirect overflow and actively pumping water. An evacuation advisory is less critical than a warning or a mandatory evacuation order. Additional areas under evacuation advisories are high-risk neighborhoods in South Maui, along with moderate-risk portions of Iao, East Molokai, Lahaina, and East Maui. Residents and visitors are advised to keep an emergency go bag ready, including medicine, documents, clothing, and basic supplies just in case. Stay alert for additional warnings, and to view whether your neighborhood is under MEMA evacuation advisory, get the Genesis Protect app at protect.genesis.com. An emergency evacuation order went out at 5:35 this morning for over 4,000 Oahu residents threatened by the collapse of a 120-year-old dam that has frequently been a topic of concern. The evacuation orders were issued for Haleiwa and Waialua, including areas near the Wahiwa Dam, and flash flood warnings are popping up as well. The mostly short-term renters at the Kihei condominium are very unhappy because floodwaters flowing under the building caused 3/4 of the building to collapse last Friday night and early Saturday morning after residents endured creaking and cracking all night long. The 25-unit building sank around 10 feet from the water and the building was evacuated. The Maui Police Commission heard public testimony on Wednesday raising concerns over leadership transparency and an off-duty officer's presence at an illegal fireworks incident that damaged a home. MPD confirmed the officer was suspended without pay and outlined ongoing investigations. Commissioners moved forward with new leadership elections and the chief's annual evaluation.
You've been watching the Maui Daily Report Week in Review.